Coming up on the final drive, a top 10 beatdown in Bloomington. The Hoosiers sending a clear message they are once again a CFP contender. Michigan may be in that picture as well. The Wolverines picking up a W in Lincoln as the Huskers' misery against ranked teams continues. Plus, the Big Ten picking up 2 rivalry wins with the Ducks and Huskies both taking care of their in-state foes. It's all on the final drive now. Welcome in. It is the final drive of the Big Ten Network. We are presented by Auto Owners Insurance. Dave Revson, Howard Griffith, Marcel Reese. There are beatdowns, and then there is what Indiana administered to Illinois, a clear message that the Hoosiers were not a one-year wonder.
Yeah, total domination. I mean, when you start to go through these numbers, it's really shocking to think that Indiana is playing this well right now after what they were able to do last year. You thought maybe there's a step back. There's not. Coach Zanetti has his team rolling and playing at a high level.
To your point, they picked up right where they left off last season in beating everyone and anything that steps into their way, playing Kirk Cignetti football.
Well, the one rap against last year's team, right, was that they didn't beat any ranked teams. They seem to have taken that somewhat personally because they beat a ranked team today. They beat a top 10 team. Brett Bielema in Illinois coming into this thing, ranked number 9 in the country, taking on Fernando Mendoza and the Hoosiers before an amped-up crowd in Bloomington, and they had plenty to cheer about essentially from the get-go. D'Angelo Pons, the
dreaded double thumb.
Indeed. Special teams coming up big. Indiana on top 7-0 early. One highlight for Illinois, a little bit of a defensive breakdown for the Hoosiers. Luke Altmaier, Colin Dixon, 59 yards for the touchdown. It's 7-7. I think it's fair to say from there it was all Hoosiers. Fernando Mendoza, Omar Cooper fighting his way into the end zone. Indiana back on top 14-7. Then it's Mendoza to E.J. Williams.
Red zone, face master higher, Howard.
21-7 IU. Riley Nowakowski weaving his way through, 43 yards, 28-7. Mendoza 15 of 17 with 4 TDs in the first half. To the third quarter we go. They got it done on the ground as well to the tune of 312 rushing yards. They outrushed Illinois 312-2. Galen Black there. It's 42-10. And then it's Mendoza, Elijah Surratt. Brett Bielema assumes the position. 63-10. Indiana just its 7th win in 124 all-time games against top 10 foes. 63-10, fellas. I mean, as thorough a beatdown as you're going to get. Just for some perspective, 63 points is the most ever scored by any Big Ten team in the history of the conference against a top 10 team. This was as good a performance as you're going to see, Marcel.
Yeah, Indiana just seemed to play at a faster pace, a stronger pace. They dominated the line of scrimmage, and they just imposed their will on Illinois today.
You think about this, look at some of the numbers. Total plays, Indiana 72, Illinois 45. You look at third down conversions, Illinois only 1 of 10. They were 8 of 11. This was an Indiana team that really showed up with a lot to prove. And they go out and take whoever shows up in front of them and destroys them. I thought it was outstanding. The game plan from an offensive perspective to get the ball out of his hands really quickly, not allowing the pass rush to get to them was really, the demise of Illinois. They could never get close to the quarterback.
One of the interesting things that I look at the end of a game is, did you get beat or did you beat yourselves? And when you look at the stat line, you're looking at Illinois. They played a relatively clean game, only had 4 penalties, didn't turn the ball over. They had 1 turnover, but for 0 yards, and they just got beat. Like Indiana just did everything right at the right time in the right moments. They were 7 of 7 in the red zone. Indiana was, and Illinois was 0 for 0. Didn't even make it into the red zone, and that's just a telling story.
They got beat. I mean, they were outgained by 418 yards in this game. And Howard, line of scrimmage is a big theme. It's going to run throughout this day. We were concerned. I think the one area, like if you were to go through all of the units from both of these teams, you'd say the offensive line for Illinois was a little exposed in the first half of that Duke game. They figured it out, and they played well in the second half. But this is a better team than Duke, and they just were not able to stop Indiana's pass rush in any way, shape, or
really had no answers. And whether they were bringing 3, whether they were bringing 5, Illinois could just never come up with the solution to be able to take care of it. Here's another example. This is a 4-man rush, and you've got to be able to block the down, secure the downs to understand it. It looks like they are a little unsure of who is supposed to be protecting, what the protection is supposed to be. And when you get a team in this situation and you just continue to stay in third and long situations, which Illinois spent a lot of time in, it becomes a defensive pass rush. They're just able to get to the quarterback, and Illinois really had no answers.
Never stayed on schedule, playing behind the sticks the entire game, particularly in the first half. They just couldn't get anything going. And to your point, Howard, you just showed a number of sacks where your quarterback can never really get comfortable, get composed, or get into a rhythm because there is constant penetration. And like we say in that offensive room, penetration kills any offense.
No run game.
2 yards.
Right?
Yeah.
No run game?
Yeah.
It's a pass rush drill for the defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the big fear for Illinois going into this one. It ends their 7-game win streak, which is tied for the longest in the nation. And this is a difficult stretch. Remember, they're beginning a stretch of 3 of 4 games against ranked teams. They got USC next week, Ohio State's in that stretch of games as well. So they're going to have to figure it out here pretty quickly. The Illini are. That's a really big one for them a week from now. Lots more on that game coming up, but let's get some thoughts on some other games from earlier today as we check in for the first time with Ashley Adamson and Brock Vereen.
Dave, thank you so much. A couple of former Pac-12 teams meeting up in some rivalry games on Saturday. We'll start with the one that was on our air, Oregon State, 129th meeting. And Oregon brings the uniforms every time, Brock, but Saturday, the shoe duck, there was something very special about these ones.
You got to make Uncle Phil proud, and I'm sure he was.
Yeah, you look good, you play good, you look good. It all adds up. Number 6, Oregon, taking on Oregon State early on. A reminder that Decorian Moore is a true freshman, people.
Are you sure?
This is a grown man touchdown. 7-0 Ducks early on. Beavs, though, credit them. They hung around early. Anthony Hankerson punching one in. That is the first half touchdown the Ducks have given up all season. We're all even at 7. Dante Moore, he was on time in this game. Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end, 21-7 at the half. Moving ahead to the third quarter. Dante Moore, time. Jeremiah McClellan, a redshirt freshman, first career touchdown. 28-7, all of a sudden this thing started to get away from the Beavs. Dante Moore, 4 different receivers. Whoop. 4 touchdowns. 41-7 was the final. It was a career day for Dante Moore, who spoke with our Brooke Fletcher after the big win.
Dante, you told me there were a lot of emotions preparing for this game today. Just what did it mean to come out and perform in a game like this the way that you did?
Yeah, at the beginning of the week, I kind of remembered my freshman year when I played at Oregon State and, how much adversity I went through. And it's kind of that feeling of, you never want to happen again in life. So I made sure this week I pushed myself, make sure I pushed my teammates and come out, want to come out victorious. But overall, it's a rivalry game. We're playing for Phil. We wore the jerseys for Phil, and we thank this community so much. We love Eugene. We love the state of Oregon.
There's going to be some stuff that we can clean up. It's a dominant win. It's important for our guys to go out there and execute. Thought we did some good things in all phases and a lot that we can clean up.
Mention clean up. What do you think needs to be cleaned up?
Penalties for 1, give 5. We did a much better job stopping the run in the second half and forcing the run in the second half. So that's the way I want to see us play throughout the year.
How do you make sure this team keeps that energy and focus as you gear up for a game versus Penn State?
I'm not worried about that. These guys will bring the juice.
Of course, they're going to bring the juice, and we will talk about that game, the Big Ten Championship rematch coming up next week. But let's talk about what we saw from this Ducks group today. Dan Lanning said it last week against Northwestern. He did not like the way that his team finished against the Wildcats. They did finish against the Beavers, 34 straight unanswered. What stood out to you today?
That wide receiver duo. Oh, my gosh. Young, true freshman and Decorian Moore. Again, I still need to see some paperwork. I don't know how this guy's not a 5-year vet. And, of course, the established Malik Benson. Explosives, explosives, explosives. Right off the bat, the circus grab separating the football from the cornerback. And you see Malik Benson doing the same exact thing here. Watch, not just getting the ball, but watch how they immediately remove it out of the cornerback's way. So any punch you throw, it makes no difference. And again, you're not having deja vu. This is not the play that you just saw 2 plays ago. It's identical, but it is DeCorian Moore making plays. Both of these guys are so frustrating for every cornerback. And in all 3 of those plays, the cornerback is in perfect position. They just lose because the wide receivers are better, simply put.
Well, and it was a cool first circle moment for Dante Moore. You heard him told Brooke Fletcher that when he was a freshman at UCLA, the last game he started for the Bruins was against Oregon State. So he wanted another shot at the Beavs. Obviously, yes, he definitely got it in week 4 here with the Ducks. Looking ahead to the whiteout next week. We've had this circled on our calendars for months. Now, finally, this team gets to get ready for the Nittany Lions. What are you looking for?
The rest versus rust, right? Penn State coming in with fresh legs, excited. The biggest game of the year every year is the whiteout. And Oregon gets to come off of a massive rivalry win. Who has more juice coming in? Well, you heard Dan Lanning at the end of that interview. I am not questioning my guys' juice. They will be ready to go. I mean, that is a game that has been circled for months now, and we finally get it.
It's going to be fun to watch that one next week. I'm sure we'll be talking about it throughout the week, is my guess. Ducks, by the way, average margin of victory, 41 points.
Pretty good.
4 games into the season. Not bad, Dave.
Pretty impressive. So much more to come here on the show. Michigan running over and running past the Huskers. We'll have highlights of their big win in Lincoln and plenty more on an awfully impressive performance, a historic performance by Indiana. Get you out to Bloomington for more reaction. This is the Final Drive. The day's other marquee game, Michigan and Nebraska, talented young quarterbacks going head-to-head. Tom Osborne, legendary Nebraska coach, on hand to watch it. Bryce Underwood in the first quarter calls his own number and takes it 37 yards for the score. Wolverines on top 10-0 early. To the second, it's 10-3. Dylan Raiola, Ja'Cory Barney, second straight game with a touchdown for Barney. That ties it up at 10. Michigan coming right back. Very next play from scrimmage.
See ya.
Justice Haynes is gone. 75 yards. He has 4 runs of 50 yards or longer in 4 games. They had 2 all of last season. Michigan up 17-10. Now, the end of the half, Nebraska has time for a Hail Mary, and it is answered. Ja'Cory Barney hauling it in. We're tied at 17 going into the break.
Just how we draw it up.
Yep.
Raiola's pumped to the third quarter. Wolverines up 20-17. Another gash play for Michigan. This time it's Jordan Marshall. They ran for 286 yards. They're up 27-17. Later, Nebraska in the red zone. But Raiola brought down, this was a theme of the day, one of 7 sacks by the Michigan D. The Huskers would have to settle for a field goal. Now they're down 10, under 2 minutes to go. Raiola to Heinrich Harburg makes it 30-27, but Michigan recovered the onside kick, and Marshall picks up a first down that ices it as the Wolverines hang on 30-27. The Huskers drop their 28th straight against ranked opponents. Wolverines now 3-1. Biff Poggi winning both games as the acting head coach.
I feel so happy for Sharon Moore because the building really rallied around him these last 2 weeks. Yeah, Wink Martindale was incredible. His game plan was unbelievable. And he's a tactician. He was calling stuff out on the sideline before it was snapped. And our team, they love to go get the quarterback. And I thought they did an unbelievable job in the run game. I believe we held them to under 50 rushing, right? Yeah. Which in a Big Ten game away, that's kind of good, I think.
I don't like where we're at right now. I feel like someone, hit me with a hammer right now. I mean, I wanted to win the football game, and I thought we would win the football game. It's like anything else. There's things that we're exposed that have to be improved, or we won't be the team that we want to be. We just have to make another play or two. I mean, honestly, it sounds boring, but step out of one, make a tackle here, and all of a sudden the game changes. And you go back and forth in a Big Ten game like that. I mean, it ends up 30-27. It's, get the onside kick. You couldn't have told me we weren't going to go down and score. I mean, the way we're playing. So you just have to make one or two more plays.
They did not make those plays. Obviously, it's Michigan which emerges with the win. And Marcel, the difference in this game, and it's pretty clear, and I think Poggi hit it right on the head, it was a line of scrimmage game, and Michigan just owned the line of scrimmage.
You're right, Dave. When you look at this game, this is Big Ten football at its best, dominating the line of scrimmage, and the Michigan Wolverines did just that. We're going to start on the offensive end of the ball right here. Watch number 51, Greg Crippen at the center position. He widens the hole, secures the down before he moves to the second level here at the linebacker. And right now you get it to your back, Haynes here. And as he moves up, just makes one guy miss, and he's down the sidewalk, what we call the sidewalk right now.
There you
the
go.
Sidewalk in between the numbers and the hash. And then on the defensive side of the ball, right here, they show you 6. The reason why this is important is when you have an empty backfield, you can show 6 because the quarterback is responsible for whoever the line can't get, but they only bring 3. So you rush the quarterback into a decision he doesn't really want to make. He holds on to the ball, and this is one of the 7 sacks that Dave mentioned just a few minutes ago. Wink Martindale, I've been in the locker room with him. He is a tacticianist. He does like to get after the quarterback, and he doesn't have to use pressure. Yep. That's what the important thing is for this Michigan defense. They can get it with their down 4. Right here, we just saw them with the only 3 down rushers. It's going to be a problem for anyone that's trying to go against Michigan.
Yeah, you start thinking about being able to control the line of scrimmage as you just showed right there. And this is really what football is all about. If you can control that and come up with the big runs, they are forcing those defenders to make plays specifically against the run. The long touchdown you showed, the safety didn't fill the gap. He's got to get there. This is a game of inches, and if you're not there, it's off to the races. Remember, this is how Michigan won a lot of football games and off to a national championship playing just like this.
And not only that, we are watching Michigan develop an identity. They have a young, dynamic quarterback that can throw the ball all over the field, but they are resting in the identity of the line of scrimmage.
This is a common theme in these games, 5 straight wins for Michigan over Nebraska. In all 5 of those games, the Wolverines have run for at least 200 yards. Feels like a missed opportunity, guys, for Nebraska. I mean, everything had aligned for them to win this game, including the opponent not having its head coach. But they will have to wait as that streak against ranked opponents continues. 9 years since they have won one.
Brock and Ashley back with you on Final Drive. Maryland at Wisconsin. Billy Edwards taking on his former team, and Malik Washington on the other side of this one. Edwards not 100% coming into this game, and on the second drive, he gets banged up on the play. Edwards would not return. So the Badgers turn to Danny O'Neal again at quarterback. Later in that drive, it's 3rd and long for Wisconsin. O'Neal, a dangerous throw here, and Jalen Husky able to pick it off. The 8th interception of the season for Maryland. The Terps would punch it in shortly after. Defense turning to offense. And then, Brock, this might be the throw of the day.
A beauty.
Malik Washington uncorks one to Shalif Knotts, a 62-yard strike. It's a beauty. Mama Washington is loving it. They're jumping around at Camp Randall. Maryland, 4-0.
Super proud of this team. Big Ten road wins are not easy to come by. Really like the physicality that we play with on defense. Made just enough plays on offense and took advantage of some of the things that they gave us. Wasn't probably the cleanest game for our young quarterback, but I saw him when we needed playmakers to make plays in critical situations. They showed up. A 4-0 start, really big for us to get into the bye week, get healthy, get some guys back. But I can just tell you, I really love the heart of this team. I like the way we're growing. We're growing together. We'll use the bye week to get it cleaned up. Like I said, get some guys healthy, and then be back in the confinements of the shell for Washington in a couple of weeks.
I believe in us from the start, really. You know, we put in so much work in the offseason and during camp and during spring ball that, you know, we just got to go out here and show it and execute. So for me, I think the confidence as a team, I think it is rising, and that's a good thing to see just because you want to see guys, you know, laughing and smiling and having fun with the game because at the end of the day, it's still a game that we all love to play, and we're here collaborating together and going out there and putting the best product on the field.
we've got a challenge, and there's only going to be one way is to go right through this thing, and it's tough in there, and there's going to be a lot of guys that have got to check themselves and see where they are. And I've talked about that. I felt like the culture of this team and the things that we did in the offseason and fall camp was something that was a lot stronger than what we have had. We're going to find out how strong it is, and that's where we're going to have to go, because this thing doesn't get any easier.
That is the truth, and it does not get easy when you have to play a guy like Malik Washington. You look at his numbers. He's thrown for over 250 yards in each of his 4 starts as a college quarterback.
He's unreal.
He is unreal, Brock, and I think there's so much to talk about. We'll get to the Badgers in a minute, but Malik Washington, you never know what a freshman quarterback is going to look like, but his first road start, not bad.
Not bad at all. And yes, the completion percentage, around 50%. It's not great, but the explosives that he hit are what blew me away. They had a decent lead early on, and then things quieted down. But here is when he really picked it back up, rolling out to the sideline, cutting the field in half, and making sure his wide receiver has plenty of room right there to stay in bounds. Again with the play action, and he is looking big, and he gets big. Look how that ball flies right into the arms of his wide receiver, and once again, just a real cap on the game. A massive throw here, 66 yards for the touchdown. There's really no question left to be answered with Malik Washington. I love what offensive coordinator Pep Hamilton is doing. He's doing it out of shotgun. Multiple times you just saw in that highlight, under center, turning his back to the defense, finding his guy downfield. He looks like a veteran quarterback, and I love that this team is pushing him to the full extent.
Yeah, the offense was going, the defense was going. I mean, when you think about how many interceptions Maryland has had.
Interceptions in the first month of football.
I know.
It's unreal.
I know. It is unbelievable. And they had a couple blocked kicks in this game as well. But let's talk about Wisconsin, because there's no sugarcoating that things are not good in Madison right now. 2-2 on the season, and as you just heard Luke Fickell said, it's only going to get harder.
It is, and it's so demoralizing when it's all 3 phases of the game. The offense was not able to run the football. They were not able to throw the football really without turning it over, which has been the case all year long. The secondary struggling has been the case all year long. Back-to-back weeks now getting torched. And special teams, block kicks, missed kicks. There's really nothing that they can hang their hat on. But Coach Luke Fickell said, where are my captains? Where are my guys? I need 22 to go out there and go to battle, because we are fighting uphill, but we are still fighting. If that means some changes as far as personnel, he's going to find 22 that have his back, because he's going to have theirs.
Well, and he's going to have the bye week to regroup and try and get a hold of this thing. And then, Dave, they've got a trip to Ann Arbor on the other side of the bye week.
Somewhere Mike Hart is smiling. Let's get into the final drive. One thought on each and every team that played this weekend. And Marcel, you get the first word on a tough day for Illinois.
Yeah, Illinois, you had the start of a great season. But, Brett Bielema, you've been through this before. You can galvanize that team. Your season is not over. Get it back on right track.
They got to bounce back fast. They got USC coming to town next week, a really important game for the Fighting Illini. The flip side of that game is that was about as good a night as Indiana could possibly have.
Yeah, you think about dominating your opponent in all 3 phases. That's exactly what they went out and did and really proved to everyone this is going to be a team to be reckoned with this year.
Next 2 games, at Iowa, then after a bye, at Oregon. I mean, man, like they're going to be a big story.
Yeah.
Now they'll be an enormous story if they can manage to win both of those games. Let's go back to Friday night. Iowa goes on the road, gets a win, and does it with some overpowering offense.
If you look at Iowa, they are putting up points in every game this year and imposing their will. A quiet, sneaky team that's going to surprise a lot of people moving forward through the course of this season.
Who were they?
Yeah, I don't know that.
Lighten up the scoreboard.
Huge home game against Indiana next week. How about Maryland going on the road and getting a conference win?
Really significant for them, because you heard from their players talk about this is not the same old Maryland. This is a team that came out, really played well, and weren't making the mistakes they normally make in games like this.
First ever win over Wisconsin in 5 meetings. Speaking of road wins, Michigan gets one.
Look at Michigan finding their identity, running the snot out of the football. And guess what? They get their coach back next week. Let's see if they can continue this identity moving forward and if anybody can stop them.
The flip side of that game, Nebraska, just a missed opportunity for the Huskers.
Had opportunities there, didn't take advantage of them. There were situations that they'll watch on film. Had they been better, this was a game that they should have been able to win.
Now, the struggles against ranked teams continue for Matt Rule, 2-23 in his career against ranked opponents. Howard, what about the win for Oregon?
Really liked the way they did it. It started as a little bit of a struggle. They were worried early, but then they came back as typically Oregon has done this year. Really high-powered offense and really took care of things on the defensive side.
Obviously leading into that huge game next week at Penn State. Marcel, what do you make of Purdue in a losing effort in South Bend?
We see their offense being able to do things that we haven't seen them do in the past couple years. They have to get this defense in order. Stop the run, allow your offense more time on the field so they can work and operate and score some more points.
Still haven't beaten the Irish since 2007. Friday night, we talk about Iowa's performance against Rutgers.
Yeah.
Scarlet Knights defense just didn't have any answers.
Defense hasn't had answers really all year. This has really been a team that's been driven by their offense. They've got to find a way to get the defense to contribute.
How about Washington, Marcel?
Look at the Dogs go. Win their Apple Cup in September. You got a big one coming up. So I hope you finish that celebration in the third quarter because it's time to move on to the Buckeyes.
And then finally, Wisconsin, Howard.
Really tough situation, and coaches talked about it. It's an uphill battle. They're going to find out who they are. This is a team that needs to find an identity, as you mentioned earlier.
Losers of 7 of 9 back to last year, so things not going so well. In Madison, a fine final drive.
All right.
Great.
Yeah. We can go home now?
Chicago. Well, not exactly. We still have a very important decision to make. We have to pick Saturday standouts. Rack your brains, guys. Think you're going with. We'll reveal the choices next.